Fly me to the moon, let me play among the stars. Now this is a film where I actually have seen the trailer before going into it, and I very much thought it was a film about the staging of the moon landing. I was like, what is this film? But it kind of feels like a rom-com. It's not really about that. That's a very small segment of this film. It's much more to do with the marketing of the, race to the moon in 1969. They were up against the Soviet Union. So they thought, how can we market this and get more funding and back Team USA? So it's much more about that, with a bit of romance, a bit of comedy, all thrown in. And yes, there's a little bit about the staged moon landing, but it's not what you might think it might be, because what I got from the trailer was like, oh, it's like a Stanley Kubrick thing, but it's not really that. This was a really decent, easy kind of watch. It's one of those films that you could happily watch with your nan, maybe on a Sunday afternoon, and just sort of let it sort of wash over you. It's a familiar story for a lot of people, but I think that adding in the marketing angle of this gives it a different perspective. There's a bit of romance thrown in there with Scarlett Johansson and Channing Tatum's character, which I didn't fully believe a lot of the time. I thought, are we doing enemies to lovers? Are they just like colleagues? What's going on? I couldn't really judge their chemistry and what they were trying to do in terms of a romantic relationship. What was going on there? I'm not too sure. We have Woody Harrelson as well coming into this, Ray Romano. There's lots of great actors in this film. I do think that Scarlett Johansson and Woody Harrelson are my favourites. I think they gave some great comedic performances. Was Woody Harrelson even acting? I don't think he was. Scarlett Johansson gets to show off different accents and gets to have a really fun with this role, which I haven't seen her do for a while, so I imagine it was quite, a good time to film this one. Channing Tatum, I couldn't really fully believe in this role. I think he is great at doing comedies. I think that's where he sort of has found his niche as such. Playing much more of a kind of serious romantic lead didn't really work for me. Love him, maybe just not in this film. There's definitely a lot of over-explanation from the first scene and throughout this film, whether that's presidential campaigns, the war in Vietnam, the race to the moon. There's so many, scenes and moments throughout this film which is like, oh, this is what's happening in America, this is why we have to keep doing it. It's like, yeah, I think most of us know by now what was happening in America at that time, so I thought there was a little bit overkill on a topic that is, so well talked about and so well documented, this sort of 1969 moon landing and everything leading up to it. We've had so much in pop culture about it. I thought they could have cut down a lot of that. I did find a lot of the dialogue quite cheesy. Some of it I was into it, some of it I was like, oh gosh, it's just so on the nose. The jokes about space or astronauts, whatever it is, you think of a cheesy space joke, it's going to be in there. I thought the world building and the costumes were great. Some great needle drops as well, really sort of took you back to the 60s. And I think this is a really great film, like I say, to watch with the family. It's a 12 in the UK, so everyone can enjoy it. Nothing really inoffensive in it. It's a good time, just not great. It is what it is. It sets itself up as a romantic comedy, historical thing, but also maybe twisting the truth. So it's all about truth and lies for these characters, and I think for the film itself as well. But I enjoyed it. It was fine. Nothing I didn't dislike about it really. It's probably one of the better sort of original streaming films I've seen at the minute. There's been a few on Netflix. I'm just like, oh gosh. So I think this is a decent Apple made film. I don't watch too many of them, but I think this one, like I say, it's fine. But go and check it out. It's worth watching. It's on Apple this Friday. Go and check it out. See what your thoughts are. Come back and let me know down below in the comments. Thank you so much for watching this review of Fly Me to the Moon, and I'll see you guys in the next Popcorn Chat.